It's the Fellowship of the Geek Show, a weekly podcast about comics, the comic book industry, and other geek pop culture. Music courtesy of Manny the Martyr. And now, on with the show!
Hey there, everybody. It's the Fellowship of the Geeks podcast. My name's Thomas Chick, and joining me for this episode is Mike Marlowe.
Hey, gang.
Les Webster.
Hello, all.
And Liz Newman.
Hello, everybody.
How are you guys doing?
Doing well, thanks.
Peachy keen.
Yeah.
Boy, that just sounded so sincere.
I'm here.
Hope everybody out there is doing all right. So what's been going on in your corner of the galaxy? And just a note, since we were off last week, it's just going to probably be a long one, so hang in there.
Now that I'm put on the spot, I don't know what to say.
Maybe it won't be long.
Right? No, I really haven't done a lot. God bless, my mind just went. You don't need to think tonight. No, the only
Tonight.
thing yeah. The only thing that's coming to mind is what have I watched? Oh,
You're asking us?
right. Well, I did post it on Discord, but I ran across an article that said that there was some leaked footage of a movie. Now, I hadn't even heard of the original movie, and this was a part 2. But I noticed some of the names in it, and it was like, what? This is crazy, because it was like David Hasselhoff and Arnold Schwarzenegger, and you don't normally get those two guys in the same film together. You know?
Which
Not
is
that I'm
weird,
aware of.
given how popular both of them were in the 80s.
Right? I don't know if their egos would let them share a screen.
That could be it. Right.
So I got curious, and by the end of the article, though, it was like, but, it was released and it's already been taken down. So I'm like, no, it hasn't. You put something out on the internet, it's always going to be on the internet. So I got to digging around, and of course, it looks like actually the original people who released it to begin with released it again. And man, it's about 10 minutes long, and I don't know what the hell I watched. It had robots and dinosaurs and time travel by computer hacking and Hitler. It was kind of like, wow, this is like everything in video game aspects. That's kind of what really caught my attention. So it's like, man, as outlandish as it was, and it was totally crazy, it was like, I have to watch this movie. I mean, this is part 2. I have to see what they did in part 1. So I got to digging around a little bit more, and I did find the first part. It's only about 30 minutes long, but they said it was their homage to I think it was like action, the karate action flicks. And to me, it was more of a video game, because I swear there was a video game back in the 80s like that with a little karate guy and everything else. So anyways, I watched the first one, and I was not disappointed. It was crazy. It had dinosaurs. It had Hitler. A little bit of everything. But it starts off with a cop talking to these 3 guys, and one of them's got a skateboard. He's like, hey, you punks. Well, the guy puts the skateboard under the car and like kick flips it. And the police car just goes up in the air and starts spinning. So it's crazy stuff like that. Yeah. But then when Johnny comes in, the Kung Fury guy, he's got like a Lambo, and you know how those doors open? So
yeah, the Gullwing thing.
He's flying over a ramp, and in the process of him being up in the air, he jumps up on the car and like starts shooting people. And it was like, hell yeah! This isn't even the first 5 minutes of the film. This is like the first 2 minutes of the film. So it's like, yeah, I've definitely it. Like I said, it makes no sense whatsoever at all.
Like
But
the
if you
'80s.
right, but it was like a little bit of everything from the '80s, which really, even down to the boom boxes and video games, both of them are on YouTube, or you can go to our Discord. And as my mind was being blown, I was posting it there. I've
Yeah.
never seen anything like that. Not, I've
Well,
seen parodies and funny stuff, but to throw everything all together and it just somehow kind of made sense together, was pretty cool.
Given a certain definition of the word sense, yes.
Right. But if you're
well,
looking for character development and plot, no, pass.
well, it's funny that you mentioned Money Blown because I'm sitting here listening to this. I'm going, how much drugs were done writing this damn thing?
Too many. Um, I found a behind the scenes for the first one, and they said that it was crowdfunded because they were showing the green screen and everything else that they were using. So it was kind of like, wow, and people paid for this. The director, though, let me see who that was again, because I think that's what made this. Yeah, it's David Sandberg. Isn't he
Was
like a
that
director or something
was,
too?
was
What'd you
he
say,
on?
Les?
I was going to say, was he on Saturday Night Live?
Let
No,
me
that was
see.
Andy Samberg.
Oh,
Well, maybe not. I guess this was his only thing he's done. See, I was thinking he was like some big time movie guy, and that's why. But no, I guess if these were just some guys who got together and shot a movie, it was pretty awesome. They definitely need that second part to come out.
Les, I thought you were going to say, wasn't that the second baseman for the Cubs? Like, no, that's Ryan Sandberg.
no.
And everybody lays out. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Happy to.
Wasn't he a
Lost me on
sax
board.
player?
And that's David Sanborn.
Ah, yeah, okay.
Yeah. Believe me, I thought that too. But I went with Ryan Sandberg, and that was probably the poor choice.
I mean, I
Oh,
was with you, but yeah,
Mm.
this is not a
I
not
thought
a
it
not
was
a
what?
not a sports ball crowd, really.
Yeah, but Leslie didn't have to lay out because he knew who Ryan Sandberg is.
Well, yeah, but
Yeah, man. Anyway.
Kung Fury,
oh,
huh?
Mm.
it's
But
on
no,
YouTube.
both of them are on YouTube. Yep.
Okay.
I think I put the links in our Discord. I may not have shared the full one to the regular one, but I think it's in our group because I didn't I didn't know if anybody was weird like me and would want to see it.
No one's weird like you, Liz.
Right. I
No, but
am
that
one of
doesn't
a
mean that
kind.
but that doesn't mean that people don't want to see it.
Right.
And then I know I watched another movie, but my mind is just blanking. Some crap on Hulu, I'm sure, but
Clearly, it was memorable.
right. Like I said,
A-
I've kind of fallen back on my comfort shows. So a lot of Supernatural, a lot of Sopranos.
Answer unclear. Check back in later.
You
Those are
know,
the comfort shows, right?
those are my comfort shows. Yeah, Phil comes in now and he don't even say anything.
I'm sure he understands.
Yeah, and SpongeBob, but that's only at night,
Well, of course.
right?
SpongeBob in the
We-
daytime would be weird.
Yeah, there's a time and place for everything,
Mm.
But no, other than that, I've been pretty uneventful.
I'm just going to leave that one alone.
Mhm. Okay, Mikey.
Alrighty. Um, some of y'all are going to find this probably funny as hell, but that's okay. Because in my usual watch a movie without knowing what the hell I'm getting into, I got into something very interesting this week. Um, I'm trying to remember where I heard about where I'm trying to remember where I heard whatever I heard that prompted me to put this on my Tubi watch list. But I just kind of went and grabbed something vaguely random off of that watch list this past week. And the movie I came up with was the 1962 film The Magic Sword.
Okay.
See, some of y'all are already laughing. Because
Like
yes, as I found out,
cartoon one or
no,
okay.
this is live action.
Ah,
Um, it is, yeah, it's a 1962 adventure fantasy film, loosely based on the medieval legend of St. George and the Dragon. Um, if I hadn't have specifically noted that it said United Artists at the beginning, I would have sworn this was a Disney movie. But it's not. Um, it's a movie that doesn't really seem to know what it is, but not really in a bad way. And the reason that everybody who's laughing at me right now is laughing at me is because, yeah, I didn't realize that this movie was covered by Mystery Science Theater 3000.
Yep,
Um,
I've watched that.
that Riff Tracks has also done it since then, but I am actually curious to watch either or of those because I'd love to hear what they have to say about this movie.
Mm.
I actually liked this movie. Now, it was pretty silly in spots, and it was very cheesy. But otherwise, it was a pretty decent fantasy movie. This is the kind of movie, in fact, that I always expected / hoped for anytime anybody talked about making a Dungeons and Dragons movie.
Hmm.
It is not what anybody ever made in terms of a Dungeons and Dragons movie, but that's okay. Whatever. Different strokes and all that. But yeah, it is the story of a young orphaned nobleman who, when he becomes old enough, goes off to rescue the local king's daughter, the princess, and faces all kinds of interesting fantasy hijinks along the way. One of the things which I mean is like the simplest plot ever, basically, and it lives up to that simple plot. It does a pretty good job of doing that plot, and it's got a really interesting cast to do it with.
Mhm.
I mean, the the evil sorcerer is Basil Rathbone, for crying out loud. How
Right.
can you go wrong there? The young knight is a young Gary Lockwood,
Mhm.
which I mean he wasn't really even all that young, but he was playing a 20-year-old. I didn't bother to look up how old he actually was at the time. I don't think he was 20, but that's okay. Um, the 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 sorceress who essentially raised him was played by Estelle Winwood,
Mhm.
um, who was in stuff for a long, long time.
He was
And
everywhere.
she was in a ton of stuff, movie and TV.
Mhm.
The the and the because I saw her and I'm like, Okay, yeah, her. That's fine. Like where I started trying to place places where I'd seen her, and the one that actually threw me when I finally looked it up, and I was like, oh, that's hilarious. Like I said, this is in 1962.
Mhm.
She was in Murder by Death.
Yep.
She was the old lady that Elsa Lanchester's character, Miss Marbles, was pushing around.
Right. Yep.
And then I looked at the dates. Murder by Death came out in 1976. Estelle Winwood was like 90 years old, legitimately acting in this movie at the age of 90.
Yep.
I mean, she was pushing 80 when The Magic Sword came out. She's like 79 years old in that movie. That just blew my mind. I'm like, holy cow. And admittedly, she got kind of a late start, but still, holy crap. She worked until
hmm
she was in her 90s. That's just crazy.
She had a big part in the original producers too.
Yeah. And I mean, was genuinely funny. I mean,
Yes.
she was in this, she was the prototypical bumbling magician. Um, and she did it really well.
hmm
Um, Another one that if I hadn't spotted her name in the credits, I would have never known because she's completely covered in costume and makeup. Um, but Mila Nurmi had a bit part in this movie.
Okay.
She was the hag, which is literally in two scenes, but she was pretty funny in those two scenes. So she did a nice job with what she was doing. I mean, and this would have been a bit after Vampira.
True.
I think she was done with Vampira by like 58 or 59, and this was 62. So yeah, I mean,
Hmm.
I was legitimately surprised at how good this movie was. It was funny. I mean, okay, like I said, special effects were iffy. Um, Actually, most of like the magic-y stuff was pretty cool. I mean, it was light drawn on film. It was flashy colors drawn on film. It was not anything fancy. Some of the models and monster stuff was pretty cheesy, but I mean, so it's 1962. What do you want? It's not any cheesier than I was expecting, which is why it surprises me a little bit that the MST guys did this. And that's why I'm curious as to what they did and what they were actually making fun of. I mean, you could make fun of it being a cheesy movie, but it's not a bad cheesy movie. Usually their cheesy movies are bad cheesy movies. But this one, I didn't think it was bad. I was
It's been a long
entertained.
time since I've seen that episode, so I don't remember. I just remember I remember the film. I remember Estelle Winwood particularly, and
Yeah,
then of course
she
Basil
was
Rathbone.
right. They were memorable.
hmm
Who played the princess? Do you remember?
Her name was Anne Helm. She was in she was in stuff at that time. I mean, not what other
Not a
stuff was she in?
headliner.
She did a bunch of TV for sure. She did like some episodes of Route 66 and Wagon Train and Rawhide and all of that. I think it looks like she was mostly TV. A few movies listed here, but not a lot. I mean, she was fine, and not fantastic, but not terrible.
I remember that movie fondly. I saw it at the theater and I just thought this was the greatest thing. So, yeah, for me, it was one of those definitely recall. So, I'm glad you got to see it.
I'm actually kind of glad I got to see it um, unadulterated before. I mean, because I still want to watch the MST version just to see
Yeah.
what they're poking fun at. But I'm glad I got to see it before I saw that, because that could very easily have ruined it for me.
Yeah, it would color things. Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm glad I got to see it by itself because it was fun. And I mean, you don't get a lot of fantasy adventure stuff in that time frame, so kind of an interesting glimpse into that. Like I said, this would have been a fun D&D movie if it hadn't come out like a dozen years before D&D did.
Hmm,
Very cool.
that is.
You got to see Aunt Clara there was kind of fun. She was Aunt Clara on Bewitched, and once again she played a daughter magician.
Yep.
And if I recall, that movie also made me aware of a book called George and the Dragon, which was the St. George tale as told by the dragon.
Cool.
Okay. Anything else?
No, that's all I got.
Okay. How about you, Les?
Hmm.
Hmm.
I kept watching more episodes of, uh, yeah, so bad
Yeah.
it's good. So bad it's good.
Hmm.
I do like that channel. So I caught up on several of the episodes of that and enjoyed them. I've reread first two books of Lazarus, and that's fun read. It's just totally bonkers.
Hmm.
So that's one I do recommend to everyone. Um, for me, that was about it, though. About all I got.
Cool.
Yeah,
Okay.
you mentioned So Bad It's Good. I have actually been watching because I know you've talked about Good Bad Flicks
Uh-huh.
on YouTube. I've been watching some of those lately. Those are hilarious.
Oh, they're great. Yeah. It's all
that guy,
fun.
that guy is a major smartass.
Oh, yeah. And he's not unapologetic for it. He just plays it like he wants to.
Yep, and he's not watching good movies, so there's plenty to work with.
I'll agree there. How about you,
Well,
Thomas?
just a few things. I took the break to kind of finalize the rest of our schedule for this year and start, believe it or not, start working on next year's. In terms of watching stuff, I've talked about Richard's, or was it Robert's Retro World, and these videos that he's been doing of short-lived shows for the seasons. We're just getting to the end of the 60s and the 80s. The last one he put out was for 62, 63, and then 87, 88. And if y'all have had a chance to watch some of these videos, you're probably aware that one of the things that he'll do is he'll add like an ad, a commercial, uh, that has some kind of tie into the next show. And the one for 62, 63 as a tie-in to the. I believe, if I remember correctly, it was just a summer replacement show. But I think they were wanting to hopefully make it a permanent, but it didn't happen. It was the Roy Rogers and Dale Evans variety show. But the ad that opened up to it was him promoting, are you ready for this? The Roy Rogers Quick Shooter hat. Something that's out of the Wild Wild West or some of the spaghetti westerns. This is a hat that has a button on the side of it, so when you take your hat off, you press that button, and from the secret compartment, a gun will pop up and automatically fire.
Wow. That's great.
I wonder if this was about the same time as they were doing Thick Finger toy as a promotion. Do you recall? No one recalls that, I'm sure.
Right.
But they used to have what they call Six Finger, which was a little toy that you put it on your hand, and you could shoot a bullet that way. And they used to have a slogan or a musical slogan of six finger man alive, how'd I ever lived with five?
Wow. That's pretty crazy.
I kind of wanted to point out a couple of things that I thought was kind of interesting. Now, for the most part, most of these shows I really didn't have any kind of interest, but there was one that did, and this is from the 62-63 season. And it was called The Lloyd Bridges Show, which starred Lloyd Bridges, which it's always funny when they do that. When it's the show and it's someone's show, and then the first thing it goes starring that person, like well, no shit. I didn't think it was going to be Bob.
Right. Show us an example where it isn't starring that person.
Right. But I thought this was a very interesting concept, and I think how many episodes were there? Let me see. 34 episodes, so he got a full season. But he played a newspaper guy who would write stories based off some of the stuff he would see, but he would turn around and put himself in that situation. So he's literally playing two characters every week. He's playing the main character, and then he's playing someone in that scenario. And in the clip that they played was regarding these boots that were worn by a Civil War soldier. And then you see the flashback of him dealing with this guy who killed another person just for the boots, and he's just letting into this guy saying, do you really think it was worth killing that person for these damn boots and all that? I'm like, so I was like, that's kind of cool. It kind of gives him an opportunity to kind of branch out each week, playing different characters and all that, yet you still have the security of the overall character of the reporter. I'm like, that's kind of an interesting concept.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's weird.
So I'm surprised they didn't catch on, but well, who knows? The other show that caught my attention is because of what happened to the show. It was called Second Chance. This is from the 87-88 season. And the story is about a man who dies, and then he goes up, but he's not bad enough to go to hell, but he's not good enough to go to heaven. So St. Peter sends him back to Earth, and he becomes basically a guide to the younger self, which, hey, the younger self is being played by Matthew Perry. That is the premise of that, but I don't want to say they canceled it, but they did a major revamp of the show and got rid of all that, got rid of the lead actor and all that, and turn around and turn it into a teenager's coming of age show.
Mm.
Isn't that weird?
That is weird.
And then they renamed it. What was it? What did they rename it? The Boys Will Be Boys.
So it's basically not even the same show anymore.
It's not even the same show, but it's almost entirely the same cast.
Huh.
That does not sound promising.
They got rid of like the lead actor and then the guy who was played St. Peter, which is someone we know. Hang on a second, let me pull up that information again. Joseph Marr, which you probably wouldn't know the name, but if you see him, you go, "Oh yeah, I've seen that guy." I mean, Heaven Can Wait, Time After Time, Evil Amandu, Frankenweenie, My Stepmother's Alien, Sister Act, Funny Farm, The Shadow, Mars Attacks, Out of Timers. He's been in several TV shows: MASH, Wonder Woman, Saint Elsewhere, Alf, Give Me a Break, Moonlighting, 30-something, Murder, She Wrote. I mean, he's been everywhere.
Everywhere.
You have seen this guy. You don't know his name, but you have seen him. He was playing St. Peter. So basically, they got rid of those two guys, kept the rest of the cast, and then turned it into a coming-of-age sitcom. You're just going, wow, that's crazy.
Was Perry still on the show?
Yes. Yeah, like I said, the only changes were the actor who played the older character who died, and then St. Peter. Everybody else remained the same. Matter of fact, when you see the opening credits, it's all the same footage from the previous one. They just took out those two actors and obviously changed the title card.
So somebody some executive freaked out because it had a supernatural theme to it, and so they just pulled the supernatural aspect out of it and left it the same otherwise.
Pretty much.
Weird. That's interesting. That's a long way to go to keep the show alive, so to speak.
Ba-dum-bum. Well, here's my thing. You think? I mean, how much did they actually lean toward that, the supernatural aspects? Because I mean, the stories have to basically be telling what the younger dude's doing, the Matthew Perry's character's doing.
Mm-hmm.
So and then you have the older version of him showing up. Hey, you don't want to do that. Think about this. It still seems like it would be essentially the same type of show. So it's like I can't see how the supernatural aspect of it would bring the show down. You see what I'm saying? Like, hey, it'd be this show would be really great if we just got rid of the supernatural aspects of it.
Right.
You know, obviously it wasn't because it was canceled.
Because it got canceled, right? Well, the other one was going to get canceled too, so why not try? I guess I don't know.
I don't know. It just it doesn't make any sense to me.
Makes me wonder what It's a Wonderful Life would look like without Clarence. But anyway.
So, and I'm still watching body cam videos. There was one that really got on my nerves because I tried to think in their position, why? But then again, I'm going, that's just not me. The video is, if I remember correctly, it was a 7-year-old and a 9-year-old. And they are, huh?
Were they eloping?
No.
Oh.
Don't make it weird, man. It's probably already weird enough as it is.
No, they were in a standoff because they were carrying. They had a live gun with live rounds.
Oh, jeez.
And the cops are yelling at them to drop the gun, but they're just too fucking stupid not to do it. And they're in this little I don't even know what the hell it was, but it's obviously something that they use to kind of play around, like their kind of headquarters or that kind of stuff, which it was tall enough, it was big enough for them to be able to walk in without ducking or anything, that type of stuff. So it got to the point where one of the officers told, I guess it was going to be a sharpshooter, I don't know, to shoot at the side of that. So he took one shot, and they jumped and ran around the side. So they're between that and then a side of a building, which I'm assuming is going to be a home, because you don't get that much of a visual of what it is. But I would assume it was a home.
Right. The camera work on these things is terrible because they're body cams.
That's right. And then that's where they stood. So they took another shot, and they just still stood there. It still wouldn't drop the damn gun. So finally, one of the officers says, "Fuck it," runs out there and grabs the kid who has the gun, who's actually behind the other kid. He literally grabs his arm and pulls him over the other kid and grabs the gun and puts it down. It's just like they took him under. They arrested him.
Okay.
I was like,
well, they got to do something.
well, I know that, but it's just like,
Yeah.
It's like.
I mean, it seems weird that you would arrest a 7-year-old and a 9-year-old, but they.
Well, yeah, but you would think they would drop the gun if you got several police officers around you, especially when they probably have guns pulled out. I don't know. They may not. I don't know.
It's hard to know.
I know. At one point, one of the kids actually pointed the gun. I was like, boy, you really don't want to do that. You can get yourself shot that way.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, kids that age don't always know enough to understand what survival instinct is.
Yeah, I get that, but it just,
And they all think they're invincible.
Mm-hmm.
That happens to everyone else, not me.
Mm-hmm. Some kids never outgrow that, but anyway.
Yeah.
So. All right. On that note, let's take a quick break, and then we'll be back with this week's discussion. Welcome back. And guess what, gang? It's casting call time.
Yay!
Yay!
Huzzah.
If you're new to the podcast, what we do is every other month, I've set up a scenario for a TV show or a movie or something like that. It's maybe tied into a comic book or something sci-fi, or we've done a couple of remakes. We don't do a lot of those because we're not exactly the biggest fans of that, or we extend existing properties, that type of thing. So, for this time, we are imagining that The Flash, DC Comics The Flash, had a TV series in 1968. So, with that, let's go ahead and start doing our cast. Who would like to go first?
Well, I'll go first. I was working on this, and B was like, "Oh, you're just going to cast all the supernatural." And I said, "No, Thomas makes it hard, and he always makes it where they're not in that time.
There's a reason why I picked 68, Liz.
Right? That's what I told him. I said, no, it's never the perfect
Specifically,
time
there's
for
a
them.
specifically there's a reason why we never do anything set in the 90s,
Well, a few things, but I
2000 or
mean,
2000s.
Yeah.
I was
Yeah,
trying to.
no, we've done it before.
Yeah, well, I was doing it trying to capitalize of the Batman
The
craze.
Batman. Yep.
Right.
Yeah.
That's what I told him. This would have been after or right at the
Yeah.
ending of 66
Yep.
Batman, wouldn't it?
Yep.
Mhm. Yeah.
Right around there.
66
Yep.
Batman only lasted 2 seasons.
Yeah.
Right.
Because as I recall, we did a casting call for a 3rd season.
Yep,
once.
we did.
Mm-hmm. We did. So I'm kind of familiar with some of these guys. Well, the Flash I am, but my actors, yeah. So I may be a little off on my guess.
No such thing as off. Just interesting and
Say
creative choices.
I had
Oh.
to time travel by computer hacking to get these
Mhm.
answers.
Oh yeah. I did a bit of that too. You're good.
No, back in the 80s, it would have been. Wah, 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 wah.
I was trying to do the Doctor Who theme and kind of sucked at it, so that's okay.
I'm glad you two did that because we've got some choice stuff for you then. With the recording going.
It'll sound just fun.
Yeah. All right. So our first guy, of course, is going to be Mr. Barry Allen the Flash. Well, not the Flash, but Flash. I thought for this role it would be nice to have someone like young and fun and kind of dopey at times because, hey, at the beginning of I don't know how far we're going into his career, but at the beginning of the career when he was kind of learning and, he was a little clumsy and not quite on his feet good. He was walking. So
Yes, indeed.
I decided to go with Barry Williams, Mr. Greg Brady as Flash. I think he had the look for sure for TV.
He was popular.
Yeah, and that fresh kid look,
Okay.
Interesting.
Very interesting.
Could work.
Okay.
It gets more interesting.
Well, right. No, we're not. Nobody's making any predictions about where this is going to go. That pick though is reasonable.
Yeah.
Because I actually had a similar idea. I did it with a different show. But yeah, I wanted to go with somebody on the young side, somebody from the comedy realm a little bit, but someone who still kind of knew what he was doing and had done some acting. So I chose Don Grady.
Okay.
My 3 sons.
He was Robbie.
Yeah.
I have it wrong.
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah, he was Robbie on My 3 Sons.
Okay.
He was also in a band. But anyway.
Okay.
Apropos of nothing. A band called the Yellow Balloon. Kind of in that same time frame.
Okay. Les, would you like to go next?
Yeah, I'll try. Let's see. My choice, and believe me, I was looking to make sure these people were on TV because I was criticized last time. So I made sure these people had either series on TV or they played the same role multiple times on TV series. My first choice was John Voight.
Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Cool.
Yeah, catch him early in his career before he charges a bunch of money for it.
Yeah, he did make a lot of money from Midnight Cowboy,
Mm.
which was just a few years away from it.
Yep. Cool.
Thank you.
Well, with my pick, I also want to kind of emphasize the whole police scientist type too, and so I went kind of with a younger guy. Has not had a lot of roles at this time, but I think this would be a good fit. I went with Robert Redford.
Oh, wow.
Okay.
Like that.
I could see that.
Yeah, I guess he didn't hit it big until a few years later, huh?
Mm-hmm.
Was Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid his first big hit, or was he in a movie or two before that?
No, he did something with Jane Fonda about being newlyweds.
Yeah, let me look that up real quick.
Please.
Dun-dun-dun-dun-dun-dun-dun. And
It'll
for
be almost immediately with the magic of editing.
and for your information, Mike, Butch Cassidy was 69.
Right. Yeah, I knew it was soon, and I wasn't sure if he had done any much before that in movies.
I'm looking right now. I think Les is thinking about Barefoot in the Park.
Yes. Thank you. And Neil Simon play.
Yes. That was 67. But he had done a bunch of episodic TV before that. He was on a lot of episodes. I mean, we're talking as far back as Perry Mason, 1960. Maverick, 1960. Route 66.
Twilight
Alfred,
Zone.
Alfred Hitchcock Presents. Dr. Kildare. Yep.
Yeah, a bunch of stuff.
Yep. So.
Cool.
Yep.
Neat.
Okay. Next.
All right. The next one we have is Iris West, which of course later becomes the Blatch's wife, right? Or for a little while. Yeah.
Believe
Anyways, I almost went with Sandra Dee, but I thought no, because that's a little too of the time. So instead, I went with Gidget with Deborah Wally or Deborah Wally.
Okay.
Cool.
Yeah. Arts.
Interesting.
Okay.
Not
Mikey.
the original Gidget from the movie, huh? Sally
No.
Field.
Nope. Yeah, because didn't Sally Field do it, and then Sandra Dee, and then Deborah Wally? Was there like three of them?
Couldn't tell you what order they came in, but sure.
Yeah.
I didn't really watch a lot of Gidget in my time.
Why not?
I wasn't really on that much. I mean, I remember seeing it on, but it never. We just weren't ever watching it for whatever reason.
Okay.
Not that I was picking what I was watching much in those days anyway, but anyway.
Oh, whatever channel would come in.
Yeah.
There was a lot of that for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Were you grinning?
No, but I was picking.
Okay.
No, I remember having to watch Hee-Haw for sure, but anyway.
Yeah.
That was an extremely popular show for what it was.
Yes.
All right, so my pick for Iris West, I kind of, again, I had the similar kind of idea. I mean, I basically stole somebody off another show. The person I stole was Dawn Wells.
There you go.
Thailand.
She didn't
Yep,
want to go on that
Marianne.
island anyway.
No,
Mm.
she didn't. Wasn't happy there.
Nope.
Girl needs more than coconuts to live.
Well,
I
she
decided-
got pissed off by the and the rest in the song.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Like, what the hell is this and the rest crap?
Yep. And so she decided she'd come run around with superheroes.
Here you go. I could see it.
Yep.
And who wouldn't?
Mm.
Mhm.
Okay, Les.
Let's see. For me, I went a little bit higher priced and put down Joanne Woodward.
Ooh. Okay.
Very cool.
Yeah, interesting.
For me, I guess I was kind of influenced what I was watching at the time that I was working on this, because I saw her on this on a particular episode and like, oh, she would work.
Mm-hmm.
I went with Marianne Mobley.
Okay.
Mobley.
She has that look
Mm-hmm.
like Don Wells did. Yeah, I can see
They
that.
were they had a very similar look. Yes.
Hmm.
So
Cool.
I like that.
okay, next.
All right. Next we have B Flash, Jay Garrick. So I wanted to go a little bit older than I cast my Flash, of course. So I'm taking my guide out of the stockade, and I went with Bob Crane
Good.
because I know
Ah,
nothing.
Mm,
that's interesting.
yeah.
Yeah,
I
that's
thought
very
he could
different.
play the older, wiser role.
Yeah.
Hmm.
He always had a plan.
He, that he did. It didn't always work, but he
No,
always had a
but
plan.
he always had one. Yep.
He always managed to save their asses anyway.
A plan and
Mhm.
a girl.
What a deal, man.
Right?
I get to
Lock
kiss
me up.
all the girls. I still don't know how Richard Dawson put up with that.
Right?
Really.
I guess he made up for it later with
He
Family
made up
Feud.
with
But
Family
anyway.
Feud, yes. With him kissing all the females. Wow.
Hmm.
Even
Okay,
his
Mikey.
wife,
I'm sorry,
Even
Les.
even who?
even his wife to be. She was a contestant on
On Family
his
Feud.
Oh, wow.
Family Feud.
Huh.
This was what, his fourth wife?
So he kissed her
That's
before the first date. What a slut.
oh
Him.
wow. Oh
Oh
wow.
yeah.
Him.
How cruel can you be?
It's okay. It's Richard Dawson. We don't have to be nice. My turn? My turn.
Yes, it's your turn.
I lost track. We all,
It's
we all got
my
going. I lost track again.
It's my turn.
So again, yeah, Elder Flash. So we have to pick somebody elder.
Mm.
And this one took me a bit, but I finally found somebody who I thought would be really good in a role like this, kind of the older guy coaching the younger one.
Mm-hmm.
I picked Ephraim Zimbalist Jr.
Ooh.
Who?
Ephraim Zimbalist Jr. What was he in? Did I look
He
him
was
up?
in FBI? No.
Yeah, I think it was
Ooh.
FBI.
Is Remington still?
He was
Yeah,
the voice of
later on.
Alfred.
Yeah, he was a voice of Alfred later on too.
Huh.
Mm-hmm.
And that was in the animated series, right?
Yeah, the Batman the animated series. He was the voice of Alfred.
He has like a classic look too. Strong
Mhm.
jaw, good
Mhm.
nose profile.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Pretty boy.
That would
Yeah,
work.
He was a
And
pretty
his
boy.
daughter made
Yeah.
it big in TV too.
Mm-hmm.
Stephanie.
Remington Steele.
Yeah.
Oh, she's pretty too.
Mm-hmm. Good genes there.
Pretty
Mhm.
family.
Alrighty, Les.
Well, I went with somebody that has already been spoken of, and I went with Michael Caine.
Oh,
Ooh. Okay.
I can just
Interesting.
see a brooding vision of him, because around that time he was doing the Ipcress Files and movies like that. So
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, lots of thrillers and serious stuff.
it's pretty cool. I still laugh at that video that Thomas shared where people were copying how he spoke.
Uh-huh.
It's like, damn, I have to get that for my GPS. That's amazing.
That would be good.
Mhm.
I went with someone who I've not seen him do a lot of actions. He's probably done it. I have not encountered it a lot. I remember from one show. I've seen him in a couple of movies, but there's something about him, and I thought he would be a really good fit. I went with Jeffrey Hunter.
Oh,
right.
yeah, Captain Pike.
Mm-hmm. Also Christ.
Well, sure. I mean, I
Mm-hmm.
guess, but Star Trek, you know.
But yeah.
Ooh, and got some pretty eyes.
Oh
Oh
yes,
yeah,
he does.
absolutely.
Yeah, he's definitely a leading man. He has
Yeah.
the leading man look.
Same thing we were talking about the other guy. Strong jaw, good nose profile. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
The
I like that one.
shorts.
Nice looking dudes.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
60s was full of them, man.
They were.
Mm-hmm.
Alrighty, next.
Oh, that would be me. Well, not me. We're not casting me. That'd be weird.
I will
Not at
accept that
all.
challenge any day. We could do that. We could cast ourselves when we make the movie of this podcast.
There you go.
Could be fun.
that could be. That'd definitely be interesting.
It would.
All right. So I guess we're starting on our bad guys.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
And warning, anytime you guys give me a bald guy in the right time frame, I'm going to pick this guy. And I went with Telly Savalas as Abracadabra.
Okay.
You know, it's hard to go wrong with Telly Savalas, honestly.
Right? He kicks ass in all of it.
And about this time, he needed to live down Horror Express. So, you know, this might be the role to help him do that.
Yeah. Soften the edges a little, but not too
Mm.
much because he's still a bad guy, you know.
Well, he can hard
Got to
the
keep
edges a
some of
little
that
more
cred.
when he starts playing.
Well, I mean, Dirty
What's his
Dozen was
face?
around this time too.
Well, yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah.
He was
Maybe a
not a
couple
nice
years
guy in
earlier.
that.
No, he was not.
Yeah, I think that was 67, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Somewhere in there.
So, do
Yeah.
we have to eat with? Yeah, I ain't gonna finish that quote.
Yeah, no.
Wise not to.
So, alrighty, Mikey.
Okie dokie. Well, I didn't pay any attention to the fact that he's bald. I picked somebody with hair.
We can shave
Good
your head.
idea.
But I actually went a little further and picked somebody who usually plays more heroic roles, and I thought it would be interesting to cast him in a role like this. I chose Doug McClure.
Ooh.
Oh.
Okay.
Virginian's good buddy.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting.
Cool.
Let him
That's
have a
Yeah.
little fun with a bad guy.
I mean, he did kind of play a bad guy in the science fiction movie he made, but he didn't. It wasn't because he wanted to. It was just because it was so poorly written. That was one of the. What was it? One of the Wells movies.
Yeah,
HG.
which one? I know what you're talking about. I'm not remembering.
Well, that's neither here nor there. Also, something he needed to live down.
Hmm.
Personally, I stepped up and brought in somebody that was known to be a villain later in his career. That was David Bowie.
Ooh.
Hmm. Yeah.
Oh man,
I totally missed him.
that would be interesting.
Yep.
He just would have, to me, he had the voice and the mannerisms that would call out for that character.
Interesting
It's
choice. Yeah.
especially in this time frame. He's on the younger side and
Yeah.
Yep.
definitely in that awkward phase that he started his
Mm.
career in. So yeah, that would be cool.
Well, for me, I went with someone who, I didn't want him to go completely comedic, but maybe have a little comedic in him, in the character, but he could still be a bad guy and still be kind of imposing. And I know y'all are going to go, what the hell?
Yes, we are. Go ahead, though.
Kenneth Mars.
Okay. Young
I'm
Frankenstein.
It's
not thinking that's not a bad choice.
No.
Not at all. I like that idea.
me too.
I like it.
That's fun.
Okay, next.
Hey, that's me again. Next person we have is Captain Boomerang,
Uh-huh.
Mm-hmm.
and I I wasn't for sure about this one because I really like the guy who they had do in the newer ones, but I went with the guy who's known for being a cop, so I kept him a captain, and I went with Kent McCord.
And
Oh,
he wasn't a captain.
Well, yeah, but he's
He
still a
was a
cop,
Oh, okay.
in that rank kind of thing.
he could have been a captain and later in his career.
Yeah, later, yeah.
he was somewhere around there, yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, I don't know. Works for
Whoa.
me though.
Okay.
It's an interesting way to go at it for sure.
Yep.
He's pretty good.
Got a lot of
Okay.
titles under his belt.
Mm. Um,
Alrighty, Mikey.
so for mine, I inadvertently didn't stray very far from the Virginian on my pick for Harkness.
Don't feel bad.
Because I was looking at somebody who was, I mean, there was just kind of an image there's an image that the character comes across with, and I thought it would be fun to hand that to Lee J. Cobb and see where he
Ooh,
goes with it.
that's an interesting choice.
Extremely.
Yep.
He's an old favorite of ours anyway.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Through that.
Okay,
Good
Les.
one.
Yeah.
I went with somebody that has already been discussed also. I went with Richard Dawson.
Oh, wow.
That's why he was defending him.
No, that makes a lot of sense. Yeah, I like that.
Uh-huh.
I
Oh,
hadn't
yeah.
thought about that. Yeah.
Could totally work. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Kind of like Mike, I kind of didn't stray away from a previous choice. Although this would have been a departure for him because he really hadn't played any kind of villain roles to I'm aware of. But there's one particular scene that kind of popped in my head when I started doing this casting. I went with Gene Wilder.
Ooh,
Okay.
Wow.
yeah. I almost cast him as another guy.
I'm thinking about that
Interesting.
the whole scene with him yelling at Charlie about the whole busy lifting drinks thing.
Oh, right.
What about him yelling at Zero Mostel?
Well, that's true too. That's
He did a lot of yelling in his career, really.
yeah, he did.
He's yelling through half of Young Frankenstein.
What knockers?
You take the blonde and I'll take the one in the toy one.
Okay, next.
All right. Next one we have the trickster / James Jesse.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not. I guess I haven't seen a lot of him in the comic books. I was more familiar with the character that Mark Hamill played on the series, so I kind of wanted to keep that kind of funny vibe going along, and so I went with Mr. Bob Denver as the trickster. Or
I thought you were gonna say you cast Mark Hamill. I was like, oh, okay.
He's a
oh,
bit
I
young
guess I
then,
could
but
have, huh? Oh,
sure.
yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, some people are just made for certain roles, you know.
Mm.
He's good at playing a crazy maniac. Mark Hamill, of course.
Oh, right, sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that came later. That's the fun part with him is,
Yeah,
I mean, he
he
got his start doing the clean cut thing.
grew into it. Yep.
Right. I think he grew into it because he was trying to get away from the damn clean cut thing. But anyway.
Mm.
But yeah, Bob Denver in this role, I can see it.
Yeah.
I can totally see that. It's not
Okay.
exactly the route I went, but I can see it. I went, yeah, I was like, okay, this definitely needs to be somebody with some comedy experience. So I agree wholeheartedly there. I did not go with somebody quite as high profile as Bob Denver, which may sound weird because he was high profile, but he
Yeah.
at least starred in his own show. I chose somebody who was not the star of the show he was in. I chose Alvy Moore. Alvy Moore was Hank from Green Acres,
Green
Oh,
Acres.
okay.
Yeah.
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 kind of a goofy looking dude. Put him in a
Yeah.
weird costume and let him run around being crazy, and I think it might be fun.
I like that.
Sure.
Yeah. Okay. Liz.
For my choice, I went with a young man that had just kind of broken out, and that was John Travolta.
Oh wow.
Okay. Wow.
Since he did Welcome Back, Kotter, I figured he'd be happy to take another TV role.
Yep. And he proved later he had it in him, so
True.
you know.
Had crazy in him or had
Well, I had the range.
acting crazy, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, no, I didn't mean he's crazy. I mean, not here to judge John Travolta or anything.
Scientology.
But like I said, we're not here to judge.
What? I don't know what you're talking about.
I was referring to the range, not the not the actual crazy. I
Okay.
spoke poorly. You know.
It's okay. Okay. I do it all the time, so I don't know what. Nothing to worry about. Okay. I'm not as sure about my pick as I once was, but I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna stick with it because I don't change. I was thinking I wasn't really thinking goofy and all that. I was thinking a little bit more adventurous and all that because the first time we saw him, he's literally walking on here, if I'm not mistaken, right, Les?
Yep, that's true.
So I went with James Franciscus,
Okay.
Beneath the
What was
Planet of the Apes.
what was the 70s TV series he was in?
So Longstreet.
Yeah, I think that's it.
Well, there was another one.
Well, there was one that also had Bruce Lee in it. I think maybe in one episode or something. I'm gonna look. Yeah, Longstreet was 71, 72.
Looks
There's
like
one
he was
called
in Mr. Novak for a couple of years.
There you
There's
go.
one called
Mr.
Doc Elliott too.
Novak was the one I was recalling.
Oh, there you go.
That's cool.
Yeah,
I
absolutely.
like that. He's another classic bass guy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there's a lot of pretty boys in the '60s,
Mm-hmm.
or at least we're landing on them tonight. I don't know.
A lot of square jaws, yes.
Mm-hmm.
Alrighty. Next.
Oh, I guess the last one we've got. I cheated on this one and I kept him with his friend. For Pied Piper. Sorry, I lost my breath there a second. Whew. Pied Piper, I guessed Dwayne Hickman, which would have been Mr. Dobie
Toby.
Gillis.
Toby Gillis,
Yep.
yeah.
Which
Could be
I always
fun.
preferred Dobie Gillis over Gilligan's Island. Just the part that
Dobie.
Bob Denver played. Work.
Dobie.
I think you just like blurting out work like that. That's why you prefer that show. But
Yeah, I think so.
Well, and it was one of the shows that I started watching when they were doing like the late at night black and white. It wasn't quite Nick at Night yet, but it was the late night black and white or something like that.
right, it was kind of the predecessor.
Yeah. And of course, all my friends in school were like, "What? There's no color on that." Well, that's the point,
Right, they wouldn't call it black and white if it had color.
right?
Jeez. Hell, we didn't have a color TV until the early '80s, so everything was black and white for us.
Yeah. I don't remember black and white TVs. I loved black and white shows, though. There's just something about them that just, I don't know. To me, it's like a layer of mystery there.
Especially you get something like the Addams Family or the Munsters.
Right. And I think
Right.
that's kind of what captured my attention is they showed the set for the Munsters or I think it was the Addams
It was
Family
Addams
compared to
Family.
what was on the TV. And it was like, wow. But of
Mhm.
course, I was already in that. How do they do that? So when I saw that, it was like, really, how do they do that?
Right.
I gotta know.
Everything was designed for it to be shown on black and white.
Yep, and
Right.
exactly what grayscale color it would show up as.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's
That
all
was,
about the contrast.
that's pretty
Colors.
awesome.
Yep. Very cool stuff.
Okay, Mikey.
Alrighty. So my Pied Piper. So my pick seems really obvious to me, though I suspect that that some of you might think I'm crazy. But
You are, but
with the pie, well, right. Some of you know for a fact, but anyway.
we've known you long enough.
um, so we're looking at we're looking at a villain with a musical twist. Um, and honestly, the first and only person that popped into my head, it may turn out to be a bit unorthodox for the role, but fits the role, I think, perfectly. I chose Jimmy Dean
Okay.
because, I mean, he had a successful musical career. He had a successful acting career. He even went on to success beyond both of those things in the business world. I mean, we've all had sausage, right?
So I was joking in my head. He did do the sausage.
He did do the sausage, yes.
Huh.
Made right here
I
in
didn't know that.
Dallas.
Yep.
I mean, I knew him and I knew the sausage, but I didn't know he was, well, he's not the sausage. That'd be like, blah.
Right, no.
No,
Not
it's
that we
not a
know of,
Soylent
anyway.
Green type thing. Yeah.
Huh. That's pretty cool. I did not know that.
Yep.
Yeah, that works.
But
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, I probably otherwise wouldn't have cast a country and western star in a role like this, but I figure, what the hell, it'll be fun.
Yeah.
It was getting bigger at the time.
Exactly
Yeah.
why we do these.
Mm-hmm.
And it would have been free advertisement for a sausage.
Well, the sausage came later, but yeah, it would have added to his
This mystery.
Yeah.
well to his attraction, to his. I mean, it would have added to his career, honestly. Just it would have been something different he had done. He got to play a bad guy once.
And he's from Plainview, Texas.
Yes.
Uh-huh.
That's pretty cool.
Les.
I like that.
I do too. I went a little out of bounds on this one, but not that far. I went with Jack Nicholson.
Ooh.
Oh, wow.
That's
I
very
forgot he was
interesting.
in this time too.
Mm-hmm.
Just don't make him sing. But yeah, that could be fun.
That could be fun. Yeah.
Oh, it could be. Hmm.
Well, I kind of cheated because this guy has already done episodic TV, playing a villain, and is well loved for it. But I thought he could have some fun with this role. Frank Gorshin.
Okay.
Just jack him straight out of Batman.
Get him out of Batman and put him in the Flash. There you go.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
That's
Riddle
one.
me this. I like that.
I do too.
Yep, that's it's hard to go wrong with that one.
Like I said, it was a little bit of a cheat. But hey, because
It's all
we
right
know
to
it
have one
already
ringer in
worked.
there. Right.
Yep. Did anybody do any other additional castings? Les?
Yes, I did.
I kind of figured that's you have the floor.
Thank you. I went with John Aston as Billy and the Flash, as he had done so much comedy before. He did that one series, I'm Dickens, He's Finster.
Mm-hmm.
I remember that one vividly.
That was also on that from 62 63 little video.
Was it?
Oh,
Yep.
cool. Well, and obviously Gomez Adams.
Yep.
Right.
And it was funny because that thing was preceded by a commercial they did, him, Marty Ingalls, and then whoever the female lead was for, I think it was Parquet. It was for butter. I think it was Parquet Butter.
Cool.
Second one is Iris, and I went with Diane Dors, D-O-R-S. Diane Dors was the wife of Richard Dawson at one time.
She was.
Mm-hmm.
But
She was at one point known as the British Marilyn Monroe.
Yeah. And she was not a tall person.
She was not. She was a hottie when she was young.
I agree with that. I went with John Cassavetes as Jay Garrett.
Okay.
Cool.
Interesting.
Now I got into a little bit of humor here. Villains are always great when they're humorous.
Mm-hmm.
For Abracadabra, well, no, I'll save that last. For Captain Boomerang, I went with Benny Hill.
Nice.
For the Pied Piper, I went with Marty Ingalls, who is the co-star on I'm Dickens, He's Finster.
Cool.
Now the big two for Captain Boomerang, and I just thought this was a great idea. Bill Dana. Anybody remember Bill Dana?
Name sounds familiar.
Jose Jimenez. Nobody?
Oh, yeah.
Jose Jimenez.
Jose Jimenez, yeah.
Is that a crash helmet you're wearing? I hope not. You know, things like that.
Uh-huh.
And the last one, the trickster, I went with David Lerner, Lerner. David Lerner was the voice of Marvin on the TV version of
Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy?
Hitchhiker, yeah. He played Marvin.
Oh, interesting.
That's pretty cool.
That would be
Now, I want to pose to you folks, I want you to add to this one. These characters played by Warner Brothers cartoon characters. So I would just like to have you go down and give me your voices on which ones would be good spots for people.
Like Bugs Bunny as the Flash? Is that what you mean? Or
That kind of things, yeah.
well, that's fine. Bugs Bunny as the Flash.
I would do Porky Pig as Barry Allen, the Barry Allen Flash. Because I'm gonna do Daffy Duck as a Jay Garrick Flash.
There you go.
A la Duck Dodgers
Duck
in the
Dodgers.
24th and a half century.
Yep.
He was not a person on Warner Brothers.
Who?
Did you not say, you said Daffy?
I said Daffy Duck.
Okay, yeah, okay. Anything for you?
Do Elmira as Iris. He wants to have
that's
Wow, that's cruel.
He'd have to be fast to get away, wouldn't he?
Through that.
That would be funny. I think if Liz is going to pick Telly Savalas says abracadabra. I think we got to go Elmer Fudd there.
Yeah.
Right.
That sounds about right, yeah. How about the Flash himself?
God, going Porky
Speedy
Pig.
Rodriguez.
Speedy
Andre.
Gonzalez.
Yeah,
Speedy Gonzalez?
Gonzalez
Or
Rodriguez. I got my best friend on my brain.
how
Have him
about
as the Flash. Yeah.
the Roadrunner as the
Ah,
Flash?
yeah.
Because I was
I mean,
thinking
you could.
Speedy would be more of the Eobard Thawne,
Reverse Flash.
reverse Flash.
I could see that too.
Or Tasmanian Devil.
Yeah,
See, I
I would
might go
kind of.
with Taz. I might go with Captain Boomerang.
That's what I was thinking.
Then who are we leaving out?
Well,
We got Iris. What about Jay?
I thought we did Daffy. Was I wrong? Daffy was Jay Garrick?
That was my pick.
Okay.
Okay.
You can have a different pick if you want.
Yeah, I mean, that's fine. No, the perfect choice for Tasmanian Devil is a character I didn't have on the list. The Top.
Top, yeah.
That's a little on the nose.
I can see Pied Piper played by Foghorn Leghorn.
I like
That's
that.
crazy, I say. Crazy. I do like that.
That's I was sitting here racking my brain trying to think who I put with Pied Piper, and yep, that's perfect.
Yep.
So for Trickster, I might do Wile E. Coyote, but it's the later one who actually talks. You know, the Wile E. Coyote.
Right.
Genius.
Super genius.
Super genius. Yeah, that Wile E. Coyote as Trickster.
Mhm.
How about, who was it? Were we missing someone? Abracadabra?
I had done Elmer Fudd for him.
Right.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I
I
think we
was
got them all.
thinking Gossamer.
I like that one too.
Uh-huh.
Well, we got to put Yosemite Sam somewhere.
Now, who blew up the most other than Wile E. Coyote?
Oh,
Who
definitely
blew?
Yosemite Sam.
Yeah, with his rootin'
He
tootins.
was Bugs was constantly blowing him up or running him over.
Or Marvin the Martian.
There was a lot of cannons and Yosemite Sam cartoons, as I recall,
It's very true.
or dragons.
Marvin Martian's whole ideal was to blow up the Earth, though.
He was.
He'd be the explosive expert.
With the earth shattering kaboom. All righty.
That's what I was thinking.
I like it.
Well, what do you know? It disintegrated.
Mm. Good stuff. Good stuff. Good stuff.
Yep.
Hmm.
We
Fun.
got another one here in a couple of months. Woohoo! On that note, we are going to take a quick break and be back with geek news for you. And we're back, and it's time for geek news for you. In this segment, we bring a couple of news items to the table for discussion. This week is Liz and myself. And Liz, would you go first, please?
Yep. All right. This one's kind of weird because I don't normally talk about gaming stuff, but definitely caught my attention. Now, when you go and you buy a nice console system for anywhere from 4 to, depending on your upgrades, $800, that should be yours. You should be able to do what you want with it, play games on it, throw it in the goddamn toilet if you want to. It's yours. It's
Oh, there
bought
might
and
be an
paid for.
opinion coming here.
Yeah. So Nintendo has now said no. If you buy our $500 system, it's not yours. You're basically, if if you do something that they don't like, they're now talking about bricking your host system. Not IP banning, not, shadow ban, nothing, but they're going to brick your system, which is actually physically breaking your system. Now, I understand, especially now when we have all cracking down on passwords and piracy and everything. It has hit all industries and definitely in our gaming industry too. But it's also a tech field that has lots of false positives. Um, you can have a glitch and it could be like, oh, this person's using a bot when this person doesn't even know what a bot is, which, by the way, Nintendo has said, no, you can't do that. You can't use any kind of modifications. You can't use any kind of bots. You can't use any kind of thirdware software. Now, these are all offenses that will break your system. No warnings. They're just going to straight out brick it. So my question is, so if you're paying $400, $500 for this system, when does it become yours? Should you not be able to do what you want to do with that? I mean, if you want to run a mod on your game and you're not gaming in any kind of championship or anything else, why is it Nintendo's business on what you're doing with your game? You're not hurting anybody. You're not making any money off of it. You're if anything, you can aim a little better at a game. Now, competition, of course, I understand those rules completely change because you can't have anything like that, anything that will give you a bigger advantage. But if you're playing Mario Kart and you want infinite life, so you quit dying on that one part of your race course, why is it up to them now to brick your system for that? I think it's going to be very, very bad because, of course, when they roll this out, the other two are looking. And it'll probably be similar things going over to Xbox and Sony, too. So are we just renting consoles from them now? you know, uh, Pretty much the same way with their games, too. If you buy a game, now, let's see, back in my day, um, you actually had a physical copy of your game, which of course we all know the downsides of that. It may scratch, you may have to blow on it 20 times before it'll play, but it was yours. you know, um, you could loan it to your friend or swap games or whatever, that was your game. Well, nowadays you can't do that. You can buy a physical copy, but you still have to go online and download the game. And now some places are even telling you these downloads of the game that you just bought aren't yours. They can take it away from you at any time because, hey, you signed into the game. You may not have read that 20-page warning, but here it is. I just, uh, I don't like this.
It's frustrating.
It is. Especially with how expensive things have gotten. They're talking about Grand Theft Auto 6 being what, $100 to buy the game? And now you're saying you may not own this game. We can wipe it off your cloud at any time. And you sign these services saying it's okay for them to do that, which I'm not telling people not to read their warnings, but you really should. I know they're so long and they're so boring and everything else, but these are the little things they hide off in there, you know? So definitely Nintendo is setting a standard. I hope it fails miserably for them. I hope they brick so many systems that they have to start offering refunds on these machines that they do away with this policy because it's just not worth it. I mean, I don't know how many of you guys have worked in the tech field, but it's filled with false positives all the time. It's just the way things are. You know, program can lag and give you a different result, or you can glitch out,
Yeah.
and it's such a permanent thing.
Right. And that's the deal is, I mean, if these people not watched movies, I mean, at what point is where in the hell did this come across as a good idea? I mean, what problem does this solve, really? I mean, does it at best it stops that one person from using that mod.
Yeah,
That's really all it does. I mean, and if you're trying to encourage somebody, oh well, my system got bricked. Well, I should stop using that mod and go buy another console. Why would I buy that one again?
right.
If they've already proven that they're gonna just blow shit up on me, and I mean that seems stupid. I would go find another console that doesn't have in the fine print that they're just gonna order 66 your ass.
hmm
I mean, this is
And
a supervillain move.
it's not just game mods. You can't mod your system. So if you don't like the little processor that they put in there, too bad. You're stuck with it because if you modify that system in any way, they'll brick it. So
Right.
it's
I mean,
kind of
and
like,
I'm fine with voiding the warranty with some shit like that. That's
yeah,
fine. If I'm not going to
voiding the
take it to a
warranty.
Nintendo place to get it fixed if I've jacked with the thing. Fine.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
But
Which we
you're
all know
destroying
that.
my property at that point.
Yep. You cut the tape, you know it's over with their warranty, you know.
Right. But
But you
that's
should be able to add and modify your system. If you have something that works better, hey, use it. But now they're saying, nope, you can't do that. We'll brick the whole thing, you know.
right. If ever
And
there was an argument for PC gaming, this is it.
Mm.
right. And you know, Nintendo, I mean, yes, they're a big brand, don't get me wrong, but they're not no Xbox or Sony. They're not even in the same sandbox with
They're a
Xbox and
lot more of
Sony.
a niche system for
Yeah.
sure.
So for me it kind of is like, why? Oh, I mean, why would this be necessary? I mean, you're going to wind up turning people off now who like to modify their systems. Maybe they like to build their own shit, you know. You're turning those people away. You're turning the people away who now want to mod their games, you know, for self-enjoyment, not competition level, you know. Or what about your controller? So they're saying no to all of that. And to me, it's kind of like, you know, your ego doesn't reflect your bottom line. Just reel it in a little bit. You're not
Right.
what you think you are, you know?
Right. Again, what problem are you really solving? I mean, most of the games on Nintendo systems are aimed at kids anyway, right?
They've got a few good ones. But yeah, most of their properties, you know, I would think that the only property that they could really, now correct me if I'm wrong, the only property they can really have claim to fame and, you know, people buy their systems for is Super Mario. Anything Mario is going to keep Nintendo alive. And that's the one property they won't sell to anyone. So, which, hey, that's cool. You know, Microsoft made sure that Sony doesn't have a problem anymore because they pretty much own all the stuff that made them exclusive, you know.
Right.
So I don't know if this is their way of getting that exclusivity, but oh,
I'm not sure it's the right way, but yeah,
mm-mm.
they didn't
And
ask me.
and like I said, I don't think they're that big to be pulling something like this off. You're going to chase away more than you bring in.
Right. That
Because
would be my
I'm,
concern here.
yeah. So we'll see. A lot of times when people do really insane, stupid things like this, they wind up walking it back pretty quickly.
hmm
I'm,
Assuming
I'm
they ever get to the point where they do it at all,
right.
they might get enough just verbal backlash that they realize, oh shit, this is a bad idea.
This is bad.
Who know? Who
Yep.
knows? Maybe not, but maybe.
And, you know, if it works for them, I really, really, really hope that Sony and Nintendo, like I said, they all tend to seem to follow, you know, sniff each other's butt kind of thing and do what that one's doing. But I hope they don't do this too. because for one, their systems cost at least twice as much as Nintendo's do, and
Mm,
that's a lot of money in one fell swoop. I mean, $450, $500, that's a lot of money in one fell swoop too. Because now not only is the system trash, any games you have with it, if it's on the cloud, I'm not sure about Nintendo, but like Sony and them, if it's on the cloud and they brick your system, that's gone.
right. You can't access it anymore.
Yep. So you're not talking just a console. Now here's these thousands of dollars worth of games bought,
Hmm.
that you can't have physical copies for anymore.
Right.
Yeah. I think they definitely need to rethink this, listen to the people a little bit, and, you know, that's pretty crazy.
Well, we can hope.
Yeah, we can hope.
I mean, common sense is a big ask from a corporation, but we can hope.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's have something a little bit more fun. Okay.
Yes, please.
Is it
More
the
fun
meth
than
factor?
games? I mean, come on, man.
Well, we can have our own. We're about to have our own game.
Ooh.
The numbers.com released a list of the top worldwide leading stars for live action movies. And this is based on the cumulative worldwide box office of all the live action movies that they have had a leading role in over their lifetime. Okay?
Okay.
So let's, for fun, guess the top 10. So just throw out a name and I'll let you know whether or not they're in the top 10. I'll give you the worldwide box office and the number of movies that makes up that number.
This
Tom
is
Cruise.
current stars, or this is all the way back through film history?
It goes back a ways. I don't know how far back, but it goes back a ways. So
Okay.
okay.
I'm going with Tom Cruise.
Well, you just guessed the number one.
Uh-huh.
Yours.
11 trillion.
Wow.
I mean billion. 11 billion. Sorry. 472,861,126. That's 42 films.
Wow. I mean, he stays busy. I
A
don't think
big
he
number.
sleeps.
So
I
so you
wouldn't
got
sleep
number
either
one.
if I was hanging off the side of an airplane.
Oh,
Jesus.
right.
Right.
I'd be
Really.
scared too.
Right.
So next guest.
Steven Seagal.
Not in the top 10.
Van Damme.
Not in the top 10.
I think your best shot at anybody like this who's going to be in the top 10 is Schwarzenegger.
Not in the
Yeah.
top 10.
Really?
Wow.
Not in the top 10.
Wow.
How about
Surprised.
John Cena?
Not in the top 10.
Dang. And what's the other
let's-
guy?
Let's go with someone like Anthony Hopkins.
Not in the top 10.
Damn. I was hoping.
Nicolas Cage?
Not in the top 10.
Wow.
Les, you have any guesses?
Well, I tried Seagal and you said not.
Okay. That's your only guess?
For the moment, yeah.
Okay.
What about Jackson? Samuel Jackson. He's been around a while.
Not in the top 10.
Wow.
Bruce Willis.
Not in the top 10.
See, and I'm thinking these people have to be bigger than those to be.
Yeah.
Well, when I start listing it off, you'll go, oh, okay. So we can keep guessing as long as y'all want to, or whenever y'all want to give up. Just let me know.
Oh, no. I'm curious to hear this list now.
Okay. Anyone else want to make a guess, or you want me to just go ahead and Rattle
What
them off.
about Chan?
Not in the top 10.
Oh, wow. Cool. Yep. That tapped my brain.
Okay. And Les has already given up, so let's go ahead. At number 10, Jason Statham, $6,376,653,658. 43 movies.
Wow.
Number 9, Leonardo DiCaprio, $6,544,711,079, 27 movies. Number 8, Brad Pitt, $6,828,373,771. That's 45 films. Number 7, Matt Damon, $6,989,184,725. That's 44 films. Number 6, Johnny Depp, $7,152,920,300. That's 46 films. Number 5, Vin Diesel, $7,456,533,428. And that's 24 films. Number 4, Tom Hanks, $7,507,302,675. That's 51 films. Number 3, Harrison Ford, $8,142,328,818. That's 42 films. Number 2, Dwayne Johnson, $8,799,194,420, and that's 31 films. And of course, number 1, like I said, is Tom Cruise. Once again, that's $11,472,861,126 with 42 films.
Aye.
I mean, I can list the next 10 if you want to. I can do it real quick. Number 11 is Bruce Willis at just $6,097,230,276. That's 85 films.
Wow.
Well, he's been picking up a lot of films toward the end because of his he knew his
multiple movies a year for a few years there.
Yeah. Number 12 is Jennifer Lawrence, $6,081,577,257, 26 films. 13 is Hugh Jackman, $5,719,838,457, 30 films. Number 14 is Julia Roberts, $5,394,153,620, 38 films. Number 15 is Samuel L. Jackson.
There we go.
At $5,349,267,880. That's 62 films. And they're probably going to have to update this here in the next few years. Number 16 is Robert Downey Jr. at $5,165,486,153 and 38 films.
Wow.
Number 17 is Ben Affleck, $5,162,027,316, 46 films. Number 18 is Sylvester Stallone at $5,133,780,228 and 54 films. Number 19 is Will Smith at $5,078,036,915 in 28 films. And number 20 is Denzel Washington at $4,319,3 $896,068,243.49 movies.
Wow.
So
Interesting.
these were people that made money, but not necessarily for those types of films.
This is the worldwide box office for the films that they were lead actors in.
Okay, but what I'm saying is if you're wanting action heroes, these are not necessarily the money that was
All action.
Well, no, it's live
Yeah,
action. It's not necessarily action movies. They could be dramas too. They're
Okay.
live action films.
See, I went to action movies.
Yeah.
And I was thinking Brad Pitt is more like drama movies than he is action. Well,
He's done a couple.
He's
He's
some
done a
action
couple.
in some of them.
He's done a couple actions, but still.
Let's
Yeah.
be realistic. Most of Tom Cruise's movies have not been action films.
Well, Tom Hanks too.
Yeah.
Right. I don't think Tom Hanks has done an action film.
I don't. No, he's done comedies or drama.
Yeah.
what was the one he did about the captain on the boat that was rated by?
The pirate one.
Yeah.
I don't remember what the movie was called, but I still don't think that was even.
I
an
don't
action
think that's.
movie.
Yeah, I think that's more than a drama, but whatever. I mean, I could be wrong because I haven't seen it, but So, very interesting list.
That is.
And the list actually goes to 1,000, even though the description says 100. There's 100 on the first page.
Oh,
Wow.
Lord.
There's 10 pages to this thing.
Okay, we're not reading the whole list. Here.
Oh God, no, I know. That's as far as I'm gonna go. So.
That's pretty neat, though.
Interesting.
Yeah, because I was thinking it was current. It was going to be current people, but I looked at the list and we've got where is he? Where I just saw him. Number 36 is Robin Williams.
Cool.
At $4,172,762,704.37 films, but he's been gone for a few
while.
years. Yeah.
Yeah,
For a while.
he has.
So, I mean, Paul Walker's on here too. So, I mean, I don't know how far back they go, but yeah, there's some. You talk about Schwarzenegger. He's actually 65th
Oh, okay.
at just a little over $3 billion. But like I said, with Robert Downey Jr. at 16, he's not going to be a 16 here in another couple of years.
Not if he's doing Marvel movies.
Well, he's doing the 2 Avenger films, so that's going to go up.
Mm-hmm.
So. Alrighty.
He's going to play double role. Is it?
Yeah, will it count twice for him if he's playing 2 roles?
I don't know if he's playing 2 roles. I know he's playing Doom, but I don't know if he's actually coming back as Iron Man.
Right. I don't think they've been clear about that yet. I think they're
Yeah.
keeping that one close.
Mm-hmm.
And also, I'm kidding.
Right. I did see today that Scarlett Johansson said she's done with Black Widow, so she will not be in those films. So.
I mean, okay. She don't want a big old paycheck.
Well, she probably wants. I mean, yeah, it's big paychecks, nice, but there's times when they want to do other things too. So.
Yeah.
That's hard on the body. Jeremy Renner said he'd love to come back, but it's just too hard,
Well, and it's
getting run over by a snowplow,
Well, in
Right.
some of his
That's
case,
helpful.
it was money because he was ready to do a second season of Hawkeye, but they were doing a pay cut. He was like, "Yeah, I don't think so." So
Yeah, he's got that Sheridan money going.
Well. Alrighty, any special shout outs or mentions this week?
No, not me.
No.
Nothing here.
Okay, we'll just go ahead and move on to our regular shout outs. First of all, I want to thank Pop Goes the Culture for allowing us be part of a great little podcast network. We recommend that you check them out. There'll be a link in the show notes. We also want you to check out the fine men and women who support the Fellowship by retweeting our links on Twitter. They're known as Podern Family, and the best way to do that is just do a search, hashtag Podern Family, all one word. Scroll through, and whatever catches your eye, by all means, click on that link and download the episode. Thank you guys for your support as always. Want to thank Manny the Martyr for supplying the music to the podcast. In our show notes, there will be a link where you can check out some of their other music. And finally, you, dear listener, thank you for downloading and listening to today's episode, and we value your feedback. There are several ways you can reach out to us. Our email address is email@thefellowshipofthegeeks.net, or you can go to the website and go to the About Us page, and there's a contact form you can fill out there. As been previously mentioned, we do have a Discord that's open for anybody to join us. Discord is free to sign up, and the apps are free in the App Store. We do have an open invitation on our homepage. We post a lot of news items, stuff for discussion, stuff to laugh at, stuff to listen to, and we'll do some events on the Discord as well. So if you want to hang out with us, feel free to join us today. In terms of social media, we're on Facebook, The Fellowship of the Geeks. On Instagram, Twitter, and Bluesky, we're at Fellowship Geeks. If you want to follow our personal Twitter accounts, Mike can be found at Mikey Geek. Liz can be found at LN_Geek. Les may or may not be found at Fake Les Webster. And I can be found at Tom TC Geek. And from wherever you download our episodes, if you'd be so kind as to rate and review the show, it would be greatly appreciated. Anything else before we say goodbye?
Just thanks, everybody.
Thanks, everybody.
Appreciate you listening.
Thanks for listening, everybody. We appreciate the support as always. And until next time, geek on, my friends.
We thank you for listening to the show. Comments, suggestions, and questions can be sent to email@thefellowshipofthegeeks.net. You can follow us on Facebook at The Fellowship of the Geeks and on Twitter at Fellowship Geeks. Until next time,